All right, everyone. Welcome back to Champions of the Fog, home of some of the deadliest games of tag you will find anywhere in the Entities realm. I am your host for this round. It's Bubble Tea, but since we are such good friends, you can call me Tea. And I am here casting this match today, Obscura v Silence, with my fantastic co-caster, Little Rugard. And it looks like we are off to a quick start. Rue, what are you expecting to see from this game?
A lot of use of the killer's verticality. Again, this map tends to be somewhat difficult for most killers as the verticality involved is pretty intense, but obviously killer does have some ability to handle that verticality, and we're going to be seeing a very early tag and early down coming in from Silence's killer as Obscura is going to have to make up some lost ground here. That is like a 20-30 second down possibly.
Yeah, that was incredibly quick. Yeah, Silence coming out here. Clearly, they've got something to prove because they are just going right in. This is a reschedule of a round 6 game. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. That was so quick.
It really, really was. And surprisingly enough, okay, I'm surprised they went that far away from their hook, as this killer with such an early down actually has an insane ability to just, like, they could sit back and they could camp that second stage, and the survivors will not come in for that unhook because of the situation, but they will be actually coming in, applying some eruption to different gens, applying Pop Goes the Weasel, and coming back right to their unhook. It's not a nope for the people coming in, and they immediately find Nia going backside of Coal Tower, following up with the Wolf, and actually do manage to clip them.
Wow.
Second hook coming in. Very, very strong power, and a weird visual bug from that specific skin as we see the handkerchief. Is it the handkerchief? What is that piece of clothing called?
I would classify that more as like a veil, you know?
Oh. But it's not over the face.
Well, I mean, for us it is, kind of.
Okay, fair.
But gonna be moving back towards these gens, checking out progress. Yeah, this has so far been a blazing start. No gens have popped yet. Survivors really gotta be on top of their game here. Narvo just coming in guns a-blazing, gonna be heading back towards their hook to see if anyone's setting up for that rescue.
Absolutely.
And just taking care of all the gens along the way.
Yeah, interesting read from the killer. They were looking to apply pop to that one gen, but they ended up teleporting all the way across the map and got pretty good maximum value. Like, this gen was all 4 pistons pumping, and now it's back down to 3 and just now getting back to the 4th. So good use of Pop Goes the Weasel and Eruption. Just very, very good map pressure so far. And we're still at 5 gens. Granted, they are 75% on one. They've got some good progress on another couple, but honestly,
yeah,
again, that early hook coming in and early down just kind of paying off in the killer's favor. Survivor's got an uphill battle here.
Yeah, our killer just...
Oh,
hello? Whoa.
They can't go for the save now. They were going to try and like vault in, but they actually anticipated it, hit them, and that is going to be this.
Whoa.
Depending on how the killer plays, this could be 4K3, 4K2. They have an insane amount of pressure.
The management that they are doing of the survivors right now, they are just juggling them so well, using their mobility to their advantage. And I mean, all the while keeping these gens from popping. This is unreal.
It really is.
Seeing someone out at 4 gens this is going to be really, really hard for Obscura to come back from.
I would tend to agree. Oh, they actually got stuck on the locker. Oh. That's going to be an eruption onto the generator next to them. They're resetting Nancy in the meantime. This is a strong result.
This is going to be 4K at 4?
I don't imagine so. I think the survivors should be able to get 1, maybe 2 more gens done. This killer does have a good amount of map pressure, and they've got a good amount of gen regression still left, but yeah.
This is dicey, though.
It is a bit.
I don't think getting another gen is necessarily 100% guaranteed in this scenario. It's likely, but man, this is really, really rough.
It absolutely is. We'll have to see how they're able to handle it. Look at them around in bat form, seeing what gens they want to work with, and because they got to go apply pop and eruption to this gen. And it does make a little bit of sense. That other gen has been hit a lot of times. They do go for the unhook in the meantime, though. Teleport on the way back. No further people once again. And looks like they found Nancy in the meantime, and we'll actually take chase with Nancy.
Yeah, absolutely. Heading back over here. This pallet is already down, but it's not broken. So they do have a little bit to work with, but oh, a nice hit coming in on Moore here. We're heading over to Shaq, hoping they can extend this chase as long as possible, but I don't know. Our killer is just on top of their game right now, missing that.
Gonna give him crucial seconds as, yeah, the Hellfire's on cooldown now. Going back into bat form, and looks like they were gonna be leaving chase altogether. Yeah, this killer realizes they have an insane advantage here, and they want to continue pressing it. As we see them go all the way back to the other side. It looks like they're gonna be going where Jake has been working on a gen. Yeah, and Jake has not been reset. Gonna apply Eruption to the generator and continue on, but they're in a horrible spot. And they're just gonna have to go to the corner. I think they even had balance, but Z-Wall Gaming.
Yeah. Our killer just... Our killer said, you know what? I'm actually not willing to give them another gen. I think we don't have to do that, and I'm going to do my darndest to make sure we don't.
I respect the drive. Again, it's tough because it's really easy to be like, all right, I can, 4K2 here and just, take it easy, but they are not content with that. They do want to give their Survivor squad a very, very simple win condition to try to meet, and honestly, props to Nervo for playing out of their mind. This is their second match of the day, by the way. They did have their round 7 game earlier, so having to come back and play a rescheduled game same day, takes some mental.
Yeah, absolutely. Comp can be, for what I understand, I've not played. You have, though. Comp can be really exhausting when you have to play multiple of these matches in one day. But
completely.
You wouldn't know it from looking at Silence right now. Just absolutely devouring this match.
Yeah, and coming around the corner, they do get the tag once again. Really good use of both the Hellfire and the dog, but I think they are definitely a dog enjoyer. They've had some great pounces so far. Trying to get around the corner, and they will get the tag as it is going to be in the hallway, and that's going to be another down coming in.
Nicely done. And once again, the veil, it's beautiful.
Yeah. It absolutely is.
Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile,
that's going to be, I believe, a first hook onto Ace.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like his cravat. Oh, that's so weird.
It really is. Looking around, trying to find the next person, and now they're in a bit of a doom loop potentially.
Oh, and they do find this Nancy. So, Rue, if you're survivors here, are you trying to go? I was gonna say, are you trying to go for that rescue, or are you just trying to get another gen done? Because I think at this point it might be worth asking that question.
I think you have to get another gen done at the very least. Trying to hide someone is not going to be the right play. At this point, freshes aren't going to count. It's hard to, especially against this killer, getting someone out is just not possible. You have to get another gen. You have to get another gen at all costs to give your killer a chance, and I don't know that's going to end up happening at this point.
No, I don't either. I think our killer is doing a fantastic job, like I said, of just managing these survivors, keeping them moving, keeping them injured. And that's the thing, someone is always on hook, someone's always injured, and then there's usually one survivor left. And it's like, when you're working with that scenario over and over again, it's impossible to get anything done. You're just kind of scrambling at that point. Oh,
for sure. And nasty double tag coming in. Not, oh my, I actually do go for it. They're gonna get it.
Wow. Beautifully done.
Oh my word, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a 4K at 4 here. And that is going to be a really, really difficult win condition for Obscura going into the next round.
It really is. That is rough indeed, as now it's a 2v1. A lot of gen progress, but again, and one of these gens might even be regression capped, but they've used all their pain res, they've used a lot. Like, honestly, their Pop Goes the Weasel usage has been absurdly powerful. This gen has been 90 so many times, and now it's just down to nothing. That might be the final kick in the box, but what can you do after this?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just been non-stop since, like you said, that first chase, which was only about 20 seconds. That was just not long enough to give our survivors any time to get any amount of progress on a gen. And, once the first hook comes in, things start going. Someone then has to go rescue. You can't just have 3 people sitting on gens at that point. So
yeah, we see the Centaur too, so they know that there's someone back here, and this chase has to last really long to hope that Nancy can get that generator done. And I don't know what Ace can do here.
No, I don't either. I think that this is sort of a foregone conclusion, but
yep.
Oh yeah. And now it's just a matter of tying up some loose ends with Miss Nancy.
Yeah, looking around, they see that gen is pretty high progressed, but Nancy nowhere to be seen. Again, they are injured, so they will be making noise.
Zooming across the map here. Still not seeing hide nor hair of her.
Yeah. Oh,
Stealthing or
I see a crow on the other side. I think I saw a crow on the other side. That might just be me though. That might be spectator bias. No, there are right here. Never
No,
mind.
you
I
were
am
right.
just crazy.
No, you're just that good. I've learned not to doubt you when you say those things because you're pretty much always correct.
No, I was wrong in this case, but luckily this killer is not me, and they will find their survivor. To be fair, all of them have been hooked. The end game is pretty much, again, this killer can move around the map really, really well, so it's not going to really matter. This is going to be third survivor going back to the campfire, and we'll be finding, even if Ace bleeds out here, it doesn't really matter. It already fresh hooked them, so this is you called it. This is 4K4. I'm really shocked that survivors couldn't seem to mount enough pressure to get a second or third gen done, but the Pop Goes the Weasel was utilized incredibly well, and the Pain Res and Eruption on the cycle, and just combined with the early down, is enough to keep the foot on the pedal and just never let up.
Yeah, absolutely. Our killer here just seized that initial opportunity and then capitalized on it the whole way. That was really very, very impressive. Yeah, I don't know what to say other than they did it. You know, they won Dead by Daylight just now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, we're just gonna be waiting as the survivor ends up either bleeding out or, you know, being found by the killer. And it is going to be a tough ask for Obscura's killer to try and match this. And I'm beginning to understand, I think, why Silence might have picked this particular killer, as they seem very comfortable with them. And obviously, to the next killer, they're gonna try to make something happen. But obviously, I don't think their team expects them to, like, yeah, you better go tie this or so.
Yeah.
It's just a super difficult win con. Survivors have to stick 2 gens. You can't camp. You essentially have to go all out blitz. You have to get a hit, immediately leave, get another hit. You might want to bring Sloppy to make sure they can't reset and be safe, making them have to play a bit more radically. Honestly, I don't know how crazy you have to play to make it to the win con. Obviously, you need a quick first down like we had. You need some form of sloppy slowdown. Ruin probably would be a good pick as well. I don't know. I don't know, T. This is gonna be tough.
Yeah. I don't know that it's doable. I mean, we've seen wild things happen in this game. It could happen. But it's going to be incredibly difficult. I think at this point, Obscura has to go into this next round, play out of their minds, and then also recognize that they are going to need to have an incredible second set.
They really are.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the second half of this set. This time, Obscura's Latex going to be piloting our Dark Lord here and probably hoping to have as quick a start as Silence did in that last round. So what are we looking for a win con here, Rue? Or a tie?
Well, tie, you did 1 gen and it's a tie. If you finish 2 gens, you win, and if you finish 0 gens, you lose. It's pretty dang cut and dry. It's just, unfortunately, it's a brutal win con to try and meet if you're this killer, as survivors know they only need 2 gens to win the game, and so they're just going to sit on gens. If you take chase, they'll be happy to let you chase, and they'll just sit on 3 separate gens. So we do see corrupt. It is a pretty standard perk you need here. Trevor's gonna play it ultra safe on this first chase and free run as much as humanly possible. See them cutting into this tile, looking around, leaving, going towards the shack. Killer is on their heel. Question is, can the killer get a first tag or not? Nope, they're gonna headbutt a tree.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes we have days like that where we just need to headbutt a tree, and honestly, I find that hashtag relatable.
Indeed, and I don't actually know where that Hellfire went.
Yeah, that was unique, is what I would say.
Was
Bod gonna be hanging around shack here though, trying to extend this chase as long as they can. Still a pretty quick chase, but already we have 3 gens working with, or is that 2 people on 1 gen? Yeah, I think it was.
I think it's 3 different gens, maybe?
Oh,
Could be
maybe.
wrong. I think it's 3 different gens. Yeah, and they're gonna find Jake, and Jake is gonna take a tag. Lucky Break gonna be activating, so they're gonna lose a scratch mark. But Killer's actually still on them. There's no God Palette here. That's gonna be another down. That's an infectious fright.
Wait
as we
a
hear a
minute.
scream.
Wait a minute. Latex may be playing 4D chess here. Honestly, I think this double slug is kind of the way to go. It seems like it's going to give them the most amount of time scouting out here, looking to make sure there's no one else coming in here for some sort of a save.
I was about to say, you only heard one scream. You didn't hear both, and you know Claudette's on the ground, so the other person would have screamed. And I was about to say, I'll be honest, I don't agree with them going back to check that.
No,
I know what
either.
they're going for there, but that was not that was a scream of the server on the ground, so
they gave that away. Wow, that's so unfortunate too.
yeah, I mean it's a hard win con, but
yeah, but I mean to have that double slug to then get some information and then just completely ignore it and give up the 2 gens, that's tough, man. Because that was, I think that there's a world in which they could have at least prolonged that, prevented that 2nd gen from going quite so quickly. I don't know.
indeed, and yeah, again, can't be too critical just because it's again insane win con. But yeah, so the situation there, they had 2 slugs. They needed to go for the 4-man. Like they had an incredible shot there, and I mean to be fair, they did what they had to do to give themselves a space. But I mean, Survivors also did what they had to do, and in the end, that is going to be 2 gens done, and they will be taking the win con here for set 1. And I mean, the Killer still is going to play it out for the best possible result. They've got a very spicy build here, as again, they've got Infectious Fright, so they get a lot of knowledge as to where people are. But Stars are going to reset after that unhook, and it's going to be 2nd hook coming in. Again, no pain res. We've seen no eruption. They don't really have any meaningful slowdown. And honestly, with a win con like that, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I think they were kind of going for that, like, really quick 4-man slug, which I totally think was the way to go here. I'm not sure, you know, Silence played a pretty perfect game in that last round. I think that was the way to go, but unfortunately, it's just kind of gotten away from them. Still, though, a really, really admirable attempt by Latex and Obscura here.
Absolutely, and heading right back to that unhook, looking to get this tunnel out early and move on, but looks like they might have actually found the wrong survivor, Jake. I mean, I think they still had Lucky Break available to them, maybe, so maybe Lucky Break is actually doing its job and giving them a chance to get away. Killer seems to have lost sight of them entirely, so... No, I think we heard him, but...
Yeah.
Killer? I don't think the Killer heard him.
Yeah, they were somewhere on that right side.
Yeah, they do find the other injured survivor, Claudette. Hellfire not going to end up coming through. Interesting.
That Infectious putting in some work, giving our Killer some good information. Oh!
Good tag through the window.
And immediately into wolf form. Gonna be trying to end this chase pretty quickly, and I think they might be able to.
Actually, that was a crazy read from both ends. One faking the dash or the pounce, and then the other one saying, okay, if you're gonna pounce, I'm gonna drop the flashbang. But both of them ended up mind gaming and canceling each other out. However, that was a very close dash coming in, still looping around the long side of Shaq. They have a chance, but yeah, about to say force basement here, waste as much time as possible. Do you hear the scream in the distance? And they're gonna head back towards it.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, they're just gonna be playing out for best possible result here. But yeah, gonna be heading over towards main building, it seems.
Yeah, heading up here, checking the progress. Got a decent amount of progress. It looks like Jake might be here, dropping down.
Yeah.
We got multiple people here. Okay, Infectious Fright Valley. Oh, they're just gonna go for the tunnel.
Yeah, I think that makes sense at this point. Another gen going for our survivors. Silence just playing incredibly strong this entire first set, setting themselves up for success, like we said, and managing to just stave off what could have been a kind of devastating start to this round.
For sure. And yeah, they're making it look a lot closer. It's also a mental thing too. If you have a really bad blowout first set, it's sometimes hard to recoup that mental and try and bring it back and focus. And obviously having a better set for this one is going to come into play as they get attacked through the window. Great shot with the wolf. Me using back form to slip on through, probably using Hellfire here in a second if they can zone the survivor away. Looks like they are able to. Gonna be switching back to wolf form. Their power is still, no, it's like they're gonna come back now after the pallet break, and they're still on chase with Nia. They had a filler pallet here. I say switching them. I say this killer has a really good way to tackle different tiles, and I love that about the design.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so fun to see them kind of switching between forms so quickly and seeing, what they opt to use for what. It does seem that most of the Dark Lord players we see do prefer the wolf form, which suits me just fine because we all love a good doggo. But yeah, I'm gonna be moving right back towards main building again.
Oh, that's weird. They actually overshot the initial one they wanted to go to, but it worked out for them because they actually confused the survivors in the process.
No pallet here for Claudette to use. It looks like Claude is going to go down here. Oh, nope, they do have a pallet, though.
Actually greeting through the pallet.
Read.
Oh, vaulting back through long wall, and that's going to be another down, though. Killer is looking to possibly lock up a 4K2. Pickup does come in onto Mariana. Be teleporting right back to the spot of the crime. See if they can find any survivors stealthing away. Looking for Centaurs and not finding anything initially, but they do find Nia. Nia's going to go down here most likely. Yep, able to get the tag. There's a scream onto Ace, and Ace is going to be in the last chase of the game. And yeah, they're able to hold to 4K2, which again, it hurts me so much to know that they actually could have, oh, pull them out of the locker, that they had 2 slugs and went back to where they weren't. Just unfortunate.
I don't know if maybe they got confused with the infectious fright scream or something, but it seemed it was a really odd choice. It was an odd choice to make. And like you said, I mean, 4K2, that's a respectable result for Dark Lord, right? This is it's not like Latex has played badly. It's just that they didn't quite do what they needed to do to hit that win condition, which again, arguably was incredibly high. But yeah, I think there's a world in which they could have maybe had it potentially, or at least tied up the set. But they just kind of let it go a little bit.
Just a little bit, but again, it's hard to say in the heat of the game. Hard to know what's going through the mind, and survivors do know about the rule about going next really quickly, and if they so decide, we could be out of here quicker. But yeah, again, we're just gonna wait for these survivors to slowly be sent back to the campfire via the entity. And really strong set 1 coming in for Silence. Very, very well played to both these teams, but Silence walking away victorious. And we're moving to set number 2, which is looking to be pretty spicy. It's gonna be Artist on Groaning 2. Again, these are a little bit different picks from this weekend, as this was a reschedule, so the picks are gonna be a bit spicier, a bit different, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, everybody loves a good Artist game, so I haven't seen one in a while either. I haven't been around when she's been on the pick list, so I am thrilled that we're going to get to see an Artist match next. Again, great round to both teams, Silence and Obscura. Obscura ended killing here, which means they will be first up for killing on Artist. We are going to take a quick break while our teams reset for that match. All right, everyone, welcome back to the second set in this matchup, Silence v Obscura. This time, Obscura starting on Killer. We're on Groaning Storehouse 2, and we've got DM Rule on the Artist. Immediately going to be sending out some crows, trying to get a bit of information, find out where these sneaky little survivors are hiding. And I am expecting that this is going to be a good match. I feel like Obscura is going to be able to make a comeback from that first set here. How are you feeling about it, Rue?
Well, not as good when you set up a 2 crow and you miss your first shot, but we've got plenty more to come, as the add-ons we see are pretty standard. Sometimes we see Inked Egg if the killers really want to play the macro style game. So this killer seems like they are content with not playing super macro. And Jake's gonna set the tag and refuse to be zoned going back into the middle of the map. And we'll see what they can pull off here. This first chase is gonna be very telling as to how this game goes.
Absolutely. Gonna be looking for a quick first down here. Setting up some crows. Jake, though, just holding W and powering right on over to Shaq, saying, you know what? Fine, I'm just not going to play that tile, I guess. God Palette already
Yep.
down.
We're going to be switching targets entirely, going to the Survivor who was working on this gen. We're going to be regressing it in the meantime, be forcing them to the Shack. Looking for scratch marks away from the Shack and not seeing any. I don't know if Jake's still there or not. Hard to tell, but regardless, Ace is going to use light to get out of there. Going to actually dodge the window crow. And Survivor's making this first chase really tough.
Yeah, absolutely. They are doing exactly what they need to do. This is the job of the first chase survivors, is just keep that chase going as long as possible. Give your team as much time as possible to get things done.
And that is two gens. Did Jake...
Say, speaking of getting things done.
Okay, looks like they actually went and finished the Ace gens. I was curious if Jake swapped around and finished the gen, and we were going to see a third gen pop, but it looks like they actually rotated over. So just two gens, maybe a third one somewhere with a little bit of progress, but not nearly as much. Actually, great read from this artist. Actually going to get double crow. They could end up getting a shotgun here, which would be a huge benefit for them if they could. However, we got crows going everywhere and actually missing everyone.
Oh. But Nia so helpfully running right back into our killer here. Gonna be keeping on her. Looks like at this, gonna be content to play around at this tile. Artist opting to leave though.
Yeah, I think they're lucky break and they didn't want to find a way to come back. And yeah, but I say going for the Survivor, they got unhooked, looking to tunnel them out of the game early. We do see Renato was the one to come back here for the pick. Is Ace still here? No, Ace actually did skedaddle away. We'll be heading towards the main building. Well, maybe at the tile before main building, maybe take a chase at the tile, but no, they're actually heading straight into main. They have a filler God Rock in the meantime. See how they handle this. I'm just gonna opt to try and pick in zone. Do they go to the tile? Or do they go to? They go to the tile next to it, top side.
Yeah, definitely a bit to work with here. These survivors though, they're kind of just holding W and getting as much distance as they can. They're not staying in any tiles particularly long. Yeah, seemingly I guess trying to avoid some of those crow shots, but over here, Ace definitely in a little bit of trouble and is going to take that tag and go down. And this, if you can believe it, will be our first hook of the game.
Wait, did they leave them slugged previously? I thought they went to hook. Did they actually? I thought they hooked Ace once. Did they not?
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, they hooked him.
Oh, they did. It was just a HUD glitch. So helpful.
Do not look at the HUD. The HUD has been bugged for like 3 months.
Incredible. Yeah. So helpful.
It's unfortunate that, yeah, there's still a lot of custom game bugs at the moment, unfortunately, but Behavior did announce in a post that they are going to be doing some love across the board and across the game, and I'm looking forward to when that happens. In the meantime, though, Nia going to be once again coming in for the tag after the reset and unhook, and now it's a matter of, can Ace get away in time?
Yeah, I don't know. They've already used up kind of a lot of resources, although she didn't opt to break this pallet, so that is still down there for here. Down there for here. Down for them to use here.
Indeed. Looks like they're not going to steal the crow this time, seeming to have learned their lesson. However, this will be a crow tag, but they did use multiple crows, so they're not going to get it in time. But yeah, actually the crows are going to reset as they have to drop this pallet to avoid the M1. They have a chance of shotgun here. I think they might miss the chance. Yeah, they cleansed it right at the last second.
Oh, Survivor is just playing incredibly well. Down goes Ruin. No longer going to have any of that passive regression in the background for our artists. So I think things are going to pick up pretty quickly pace-wise for our survivors potentially.
Indeed, and I think, yeah, these are two, I was gonna say, if they're the same gen, they're in trouble. These are two separate gens at the moment, so they're about to be at one gen remaining. I was about to say, they actually had a lot of good chases here coming in. They did some resetting in the meantime, but now we're gonna start seeing those gens fire. Yeah, that is what I was waiting to see, is the gen pressure on that second chase wasn't great. Third chase, 3v1, one gen remaining, and this is about as split as you can get a gen split. Look at the gen tucked in that pocket opposite.
Yeah. Did they see the? Yeah,
they saw Renato. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. This is really tough. Survivors have just done an excellent job of breaking that 3-gen really early. And again, these chases have just been way too long. Survivors running out of their minds and Rule just unable to catch up.
But I say they know there's a survivor nearby. Where that survivor is? Oh, Jake, you flew a little bit too close to the sun, buddy. The question is, did Renato work their way around to come in for it, or they Jake, you probably should get to safety here, buddy. Renato might have to rotate in for a pickup if Jake's not getting out of dodge quick enough.
Yeah, that might have been kind of a critical mistake, potentially.
Yeah, I imagine Renato's getting the pickup here. If they're not getting the pickup, this is actually, I was like, yeah, they should be getting the pickup.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that could get a little dicey. Yeah, absolutely. If they can get this Nato injured or downed quickly, they might be able to save this last gen from going.
I was about to say, yeah, they've got a lot of pressure. This last gen really hasn't been started. Renato needs to be careful here. They try and get a tag, but Renato baits it out. And I'm about to say, now they know the 200 survivors are going to be in this area. They'll go for the pickup, go for try and, stop that. Now the survivors are up, though, and that's the thing. They are also going to be spread out now, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult. Still, though, you've got Pain Res in your pocket. You can definitely utilize that. Try and create a Doom Loop here. Not out of it just yet, but... Oh, that is going to be an unfortunate down coming in. And looks like they will just go for the hook.
We are looking at a bit of a 2-perk hero now, now that Ruin and Corrupt are both out of here, which always makes things a little more difficult. But getting these tags is definitely going to be helping their cause.
For
Survivors
sure.
Gonna be...
That's a little bit closer.
Boy. Renato's going to need to start rotating over for that save immediately. Yeah, things are getting a little bit dicier for our survivors. They still have this kind of in hand, but looking going to be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, actually, they were sticking the gen.
That's a wild choice.
Yeah, now they're warning about the rotating in. You might actually let the survivor go second, but now as soon as the artist sees this gen with high progress, they know where the Renato had to have been. And if they choose, you got left or right, if you choose the right direction to go look, it's over.
Yeah.
I think they chose the wrong direction, though. I think they went to Hillside. They expect them to go rotate in for the unhook, but they're actually going to rotate around for the pickup. I think artists realize that now, unless they stealth. Yeah, they actually get the pickup instead. They're going to let Mariana go to second stage, but that could mean that they could split. Send the healthy person over for the unhook. Yeah, we're gonna see that Renato's gonna be rotating around the side, but that means the artist also knows the injured survivor is gonna be going to the generator, so it's all up to Renato and what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to have a really good chase, try and make some distance, and we're going as fast as they can. I think you might have to let Nia go potentially.
You might. I mean, you definitely want to give your killer a chance, and getting a 5th generator done is a nice shot because then you can take no wet. It gives you more stuff, and they actually get a shot onto Jake. Can they follow it up? They know if they go for this commit, though, they're going to be able to get the unhook, but I think it's worth it to the killer.
Yeah,
they dispel the crows, and they've got a pilot over here still, and they're just going to hold W through it. This is the W game from these survivors have been playing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not staying anywhere for too long, not remaining in any tiles for too long, and just, not... Oh, my gosh. Oh,
my brother, do you have resilience? No, he's not a resilience gamer. He's just got that.
Wow.
Better gaming chair, I guess.
Yeah, wild. Got a palette here to work with, but oof.
You gotta hope this is a pain res right now. If it is not a pain res, that gen pops.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, they did get the reset on the Nia, though, so that is huge.
They pop it.
Oh.
That is crazy. I think that was a pain res, so that was literally 2 seconds off, maybe even a second off. However, these exit gates are pretty close together, which may be another issue for them to tackle, but they are looking to get stages out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh,
at this point, do you try and get that safe, or do you go?
I think you do absolutely get tried because it is worth stages. I think you definitely want to get Renato out fresh, though. Renato is your priority, is that you represent a fresh stage and 3 stages. But looks like the killer's thinking the same thing. They might go back for the unhook. You don't see progress on that exit gate. So the killer has to make a choice. We see scratch marks back there, so they are going to go back for the unhook, which means that is Renato. You want to chase Renato. You want to get them done. You want to hook them for your last fresh hook and then try to camp them to death. That is what the killer wants to do here. And looks like we see they're already heading back to the exit gate. Or the hatch is going to spawn at Shack. That means that Renato is happy to chase back here potentially, but Jake's not going to be at the exit gate in time.
No,
interesting.
I think This is risky.
No
This feels like
lie.
an interesting choice. I am concerned for this man.
Yeah, they might have had a missed call out there. Nia, however, is going to be able to come over and body block potentially. However, I think with Bloodlust, you might be able to zone here. They will definitely take a hit. I think the Crow's going to be too late now. Yeah, you're going to get the tag onto Nia, but they're gladly going to give up Nia as they represent less stages. And Renato does go down, but it's going to make it out instead. And that's going to be a fresh out. 2 more stages award to this killer. So it's going to be an 8-stage. 7 stage, because I believe Jake still makes it out with 1 stage on, or 2 stages on them. That's a no, that's a 7-stage 2K for the killer.
Yeah. Wow. That was a wild end game. That went back and forth so many times. But ultimately, Survivor's just really good runners. They did phenomenally well. Like you said, the whole W gameplay. All right, everyone, welcome back to the second half of this set. This time, Silent's gonna be on the killer with Nervo playing the artist here, and they've got a pretty okay win condition for themselves. How are you feeling about this half, Rue?
It's going to be interesting. Again, artists can be somewhat swingy. Sometimes I see 4K0, 4K1. Sometimes I see, like we saw previously, 2K with a couple of stages out. It is worth noticing that they are at 6 stages refresh instead of 7 stages, and it is strictly because there was a penalty applied for the wrong map being done before the game started. So that is going to affect the win con potentially. So these survivors need to do, 6 stages for fresh or 7 stages total, but already coming in onto their first chase, finding the Nia. Needs to be running all the way to Shaq. And we do not see any gens being worked out. It looks like Nancy's just starting their gen. Renato was starting one as well. This artist found a really early chase inside of the crop spawn, and it's going to be kind of difficult to see what they could do here.
Yeah, it was
they are like
to
right in direction.
Not see survivors on gens initially. That wasn't a particularly long chase, but that's not a lot of progress for the chase that it was. So a little bit of an unfortunate start for survivors, but it is early days. We have a lot of game left to go.
Indeed. Going back to check this generator. We did see a survivor back here. Was a little bit of progress. Looks like they find Jake in the meantime. Gonna be starting chase, holding the 4 lane, going around the side, dropping the pallet, and they will get attacked over the top of it. We do see her running in for the unhook. They'll probably set up a, I say they are gonna be able to deflect it away, which is going to be a problem. This is actually a really central hook as well. So they see every survivor here. We see Renato getting a tag with the Crows. This is actually a horrible scenario for our survivor squad. This is really brutal.
Yeah, this is really tough. Artist is kind of holding all the cards right now. They know where everyone is. They know exactly what gens they're on. I mean, the world is kind of their oyster. They've got, like you said, a really central hook to defend here. This is going to be rough, but it looks like someone was coming right back to that gen.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit, like, the only thing that would be, like, more of a nail in the coffin here for them is if they have Ruin. But they don't have Ruin, so these gens aren't going to be as harassable as before. But second stage is all about security here. And you've got pretty much every survivor a bit on edge. Gonna be harassing once again. These survivors do have lockers available to them. That's why we're seeing them get rid of the Crows so quickly. But, like, this survivor is just effectively dead. They need to do gens. They need to do gens really badly. Like, honestly, this might just be the end right here. I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, Nervo doing an excellent job of managing the gens, managing where the survivors are, crowing them frequently. I mean, they just can't do anything.
Exactly, and we might see a last-second hook trade come in. Renato will be trying to, stop that gen from regressing, trying to get desperately back on it, but again, you're just not in a good spot here.
Yeah, and Nervo just not committing to any of these chases, deciding that they would rather keep pressure on as much as they can.
Exactly, and it is an injured survivor that comes in, but now they have to body block, hit. Oh, that was a generous hit.
Second.
But luckily for the survivor and Nancy even coming over here to try and do something, but now you've got 2 survivors crawled at Shaq. You have 1 gen done so far.
This is real bad.
This is tough.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. This is a bad time.
Survivors are
no one's able to get anything done here. You know, that rescue was an expensive rescue, you know?
But to their credit, no one's down. They're chasing
That's
right now, but
true.
no one's down right now. There's a second gen on its way because of Renato. I imagine we're going to see Nia try and sneak off and just, you know, work on a gen in a corner. And I think the artist actually senses that, says, okay, if I was a Nia that was Death Hook, where would I go hang out in a corner? And that's not the one, so they're going to go over check another one. And what Survivor's need right now is they need to reset, need to regroup. We see, it looks like they might have actually caught a regroup in progress potentially, or just trying to finish the generator. Generator has a little bit of progress. They actually find Nia. Oh my goodness, good patience coming in on that that 50. And they're gonna be forcing him to go W. I imagine Renato's gonna have to come in for a body block potentially. Actually, no, the gen that got popped was the gen that was being worked on. So there's actually 3 gens about to go. And Nancy about finishing one, but this is Death Hook coming in. And oh no, that's too far away. Oh, it was too early too, or too late.
Yeah.
Very, very close though. If they were just a little bit closer and earlier, that would have been actually a kind of crazy save.
Yeah, absolutely. Survivor's managing to do a good job of pulling this back, but now we're down to 3 and 2, and that is going to be tough when 2 people are injured.
True. They have 2 gens left, and if Nancy can make this chase hold, no, not against that hit, and that is going to be
commentator's curse, my man.
Yeah, oh no. They're just they're always a tad too late. Just a split second too late. I feel like Renato is just kicking themselves like, man, I need to go back to the 1v1 and just get back to the timing. They've been off just ever so slightly twice. Both of those saves would have been actually kind of monumental.
Yeah, they would have. I mean, I guess it's always worth the try to go for it, but what are you losing by, you know, running across the map as the only uninjured survivor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Jake's on a generator. They need to slam gens right now. The only thing going for them is that if the survivor dies, it's only 2 fresh, but they have to get these survivors out. They need to do gens. They get the unhook. Renato's still in chase. Might have been a preemptive shot, maybe expecting the gen, but be worked on, but nope. Gonna be running right back into it, and that is gonna be another hook coming in, possibly a pain res. And the survivor over here does have a gen with decent progress, but pain res is gonna come in and hit it back down to less than 50. Yeah, this is looking like this seems to me like a 4K1, 4K0 situation. I think they do finish a gen. Dropping the pallets, vaulting over the top as they just go ahead and kick the gen.
They're gonna be heading right back towards main building, trying to buy themselves a little bit of distance. Yeah, they're in a much better place than they were a few minutes ago, but it is still a tall order.
It absolutely is. Oh, that hits. That actually might be the end.
Yeah, that is incredibly unfortunate, unless they can somehow get this rescue, but I don't know that that's possible at this point.
Yeah, we even see the Jake there rotating in. Gonna be cross-sectioning with crows. They actually somehow dodge. And then just setting up, trying to mind game this, wait for their power to come back. Yeah, this is tough. They're looking for the nail in the coffin here and looking for a 4K2 result, which does make a lot of sense. There's the hit with the crow. I don't know if they're gonna be able to dispel it in time.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wow. Really nicely played by Nervo here. Just you know, Survivors had a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, you know, they weren't quite able to make that happen, unfortunately.
No, it was a good attempt, and they had a decent thing going, just a couple of hiccups. And again, it was a tough Gwen con to try and meet when the killer knows what the problem is. And again, they even brought Noah to try and really clutch things up in the end game, so this was a tall order to make. But nonetheless, GGWP to Mortality, aka the new Obscura, and congratulations to Silence on the victory here in your round 6 reschedule. And honestly, I think that leaves Silence looking pretty decent overall in the season. Yeah, they're effectively ending second in their bracket, so really well done to them. But yeah, that is gonna be all there is. They're waiting for the survivor to go back, and that is all she wrote. No Mori for us either.
Yeah, Silence had a really kind of dominating day today. They played exceptionally well. and had a lot of really good games. I am excited to see them going forward in the season. I think that if this is just kind of a taste of what we're going to see from them, they are going to give us some really great games.
I would tend to agree, but that is going to be all there is for this one, and we'll be going into another match in about 40 minutes. That is going to be Chad's versus Vicinal, and guess what, T?